And I talked in the first segment about the real estate statistics, and then realized they actually did come out. Last couple of weeks we had our kind of end of year recap on the show, and then predictions for 2016. So I didn't get a chance to talk about it. So the November stats, just to go over them really quickly, because I think it does show a couple of interesting things. It's the first month in a while that we've had a year over year. November was anyway, and I think December will show the same thing. The first month in a while where we've had a year-over-year decrease in the number of home sales. So in November in 2014, there were 2,195 sales in Tampa. This year it was 2,084. So effectively about a 5% drop in the number of home sales from last November to this November. Our average sale price was $199,000 last year, $224,000 this year. So a nice 10% jump there in the average sale price. Continuing to see homes sell for 97% of the asking price. About 70 days on average. This time it was 67, but that's been a consistent trend for most of the year. 3.7 months of inventory, which is the highest amount of inventory we've had since February. Again, that lower number of sales, led to a little bit more inventory, but still 3.7 months of inventory historically is still really low. And compared to last November, we had 4.8 months of inventory. A 96% average sale price.
A 6-month inventory is a balanced market.
Correct.
And so anything
below
more
that,
than anything below that is hot.
Yeah. So so last year, 96% of the list to sell price ratio. So homes were selling for a little bit more off of the asking price last year compared to this year, when comparing November to November. And then again, more inventory last year, but lower prices. So a good trend nonetheless. I mean, prices being up and all, but seeing lower sales. And as I talked on the CNBC video, and if you haven't seen it, you can see it on all of our social channels. You can follow us on Twitter at The Duncan Duo, Facebook.com/The Duncan Duo Show. As I spoke on that show, the lack of inventory caused a lot of buyers not to buy, as well as sellers, because you'd have sellers decide not to sell too, that decide to wait until the spring or the summer thinking it's better, and the reality is a lot of times it's not the case. So I'll put the rest of the statistics up.
I got $1 million question for you guys.
Yeah.
Do you think that the lack of inventory and buyers getting frustrated with getting beat out creates them to go back on the sidelines?
Yep. No doubt about it. They get frustrated, and you've seen that probably dozens of times where you've helped a buyer, and then they get frustrated because they lose out 3 or 4 times. Yeah.
But I mean, if they have an agent that's working with them and they're going, being educated on what's going on, they're going to end up, jumping back in. Even if they re-up with a lease, they'll end up, some way working out of that lease, getting back in the market.
But how much more it costs them?
Yeah.
And this is something that drives me crazy. Now, when home buyers, a lot of them do not think about logic and math. They think on emotion. And I get it, because it's a very emotional process. However, if they thought like a business person on logic and math, here's what they find when they decide to either wait or not move forward with the purchase. And I can't tell you how many buyers cost themselves thousands, if not tens of hundreds of thousands of dollars when they make decisions like this. We'll have a buyer cancel a deal over a $500 or $1,000 dumb little inspection issue, right? Or we'll have a listing and the buyer will cancel for something dumb like that. They'll go back off the market, okay? So they've now spent the money on inspections and all that kind of stuff. They've maybe paid their lender a fee. They've maybe paid the appraisal fee. They've spent time, energy, money, and gas. They'll go back out and they'll search, and 6 months later, they'll find a home. But guess what's happened in 6 months? Prices have gone up 8%. Yep. Okay, so now that $200,000 house is $216,000, and interest rates go up 1/4 point. They just, over the life of that loan, they just lost themselves way more than the $500 or $1,000 issue. Buyers have an unreasonable expectation, and realtors have to do a better job of educating them on what they're buying. They're not getting the Taj Mahal, and they're not getting a perfect house. The inspection is going to find issues, and you have to do math. Does it make sense to cancel this deal over this small amount compared to what I'm going to pay 6 months from now to find the same home? Because that's the average, and we've tested it. The average from the time a buyer kills a deal to by the time they close on another one's about 6 months. So during 6 months, are prices rising? Yes, they are. Are interest rates rising? Yes, they are. So in 6 months, are they going to lose more than the $500 they canceled that deal over? They
so
absolutely
what was the median increase in price year over year? It was
10%. It was 10%. So in 6 months, it's at least 5%.
So you lose out. So conservatively, last year you lost $10,000 by waiting for 6 months.
Right. And,
Yeah,
and,
but
and
I mean, that, like-
over $500 or $1,000. So
Yeah.
what I tell people is, if we're talking a major big issue that you want to kill the deal over, okay, but most of the time it's not.
Well, I use the analogy, especially when I was a buyer's agent, when you go to buy a used car, you bring it to your mechanic to check it out.
Right.
You're not taking that and saying, okay, I'll buy your car if you fix this laundry list
Right,
of
you
things.
just, it's
You
gives
just
you a
wanna-
blueprint of what you know.
That's it.
So what you know is the blueprint of what you might have to handle.
House is the same thing, you're
over the
buying a
next year.
used house.
Yeah.
You're making sure the structure's there, you have,
Yep.
your AC, your electrical, your plumbing, your structure, great, it has a laundry list of things, it's a used house.
And
There
then
you
those
go.
are the
There's
things you
your
gotta
bu-
take care of over time.
There's your maintenance.
We're gonna be back after a quick break, continuing our conversation about the local Tampa Bay and Sarasota real estate markets here on 970 WFLA.